everyone. What is up, you guys? It is episode 35 of the Sci-Fly Zone, where the multiverse meets the seventh inning stretch. I'm Trent and this is CJ, and today's destination is going to be taking us back to the AL Wildcard. This has been a pretty big topic of discussion on the channel lately on the baseball side of things, because it has been quite a race throughout this whole season. I mean, and not just on the AL side, on the NL side. And our next Major League Baseball episode, we'll be covering the National League playoff race specifically, because some things have definitely changed there. The Giants are only 2 games out of the last slot in the wild card now. That's pretty crazy. Things are changing. Things are going up and down. And we're going to be focusing on the American League side of things today, particularly if the Mariners are really going to be the ones to hold out that final slot in the wild card. And we're going to be comparing them to the other 3 teams that are also contending for that last spot, them being the Rangers, the Guardians, and the Royals. And we're going to see just how much of a chance that they have compared to the Mariners to make that final slot. And also just seeing how these things interact with the rest of the American League playoff bracket dynamic as a whole.
Yeah, man, well said. Yeah, it's a really exciting time for baseball. We're coming down to the wire. There's not much time left, and there's still a lot of teams who are trying to compete for a spot. So it's going to be really exciting baseball. It's going to be a lot of stuff to pay attention to, and we're going to break it down as much as we can.
Yeah. Yes, and to start off this episode, CJ, I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
I want you to try to determine what out of these 2 things are more rare.
Okay.
The Mariners making the playoffs or there being 0 no-hitters thrown in a season.
Ooh.
Because right now we are on pace to have 0 no-hitters this year.
True.
Thank you, Dodgers, for messing
that
up.
You guys were 1 out away and lost the game. I feel like for some reason the no-hitters is a little more rare, considering just how many opportunities there are for it to happen. You know, is it more rare for there not to be a no-hitter?
That is correct.
Wow.
But not by much, though. So if it were to happen this year, it would be the first year without a no-hitter since 2005. And it would be just the 5th time that it's happened since the introduction of the West, Central, and Eastern divisions in both the American League and National League in 1969. So since it's been 56 years since 1969, that means on average there are 0 no-hitters in a season every 11.2 years. So let's just say 11 years. All right. So, and that's if it were to happen a 5th time this year.
Okay.
So the Mariners joined Major League Baseball 8 years later in 1977, and coincidentally have made the playoffs 5 times since joining the league. So this puts them on average of 1 playoff appearance every 9.6 seasons. So let's just say 10. So there's an average of 0 no-hitters thrown in a season every 11 years. And the Mariners make the playoffs an average of 10 years. It's more rare for the no-hitters.
Wow. That feels surprising, though, for that the Mariners take that long to have such little playoff appearances. I would think that they at least make the playoffs more, but I think maybe that's because I'm thinking of the 2001 Mariners, where they won 116 games and were incredible, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess that kind of makes me assume that they
look at the top of his head.
would have more playoff appearances over the years, but it was really just that stretch that they were that good of a team, you know, and still one of the only teams to never win a World Series.
Yeah, and they made a couple wild card appearances, in the last decade.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really haven't seen what the Mariners are capable of in the playoffs yet, at least in this era of baseball. And I really want to see it, because I do really like the Mariners as a team. For those who've been watching our episodes, I've been giving the Mariners high praise almost the whole time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it makes sense. I like the Mariners too. I like them a lot, even being a division rival, They're one of the teams that if they make the playoffs, I want them to make it far in the playoffs, And I mean, they're on a pretty good pace right now because they've been doing really well.
100%. So basically, I put together the Mariners and the Rangers and the Guardians and the Royals, and I compared them on the basis of how many hits they've gotten as a team, runs they've gotten as a team, and their team OPS, as well as their team's pitching ERA, WHIP, and earned runs as a whole on the season. So between the Mariners, the Rangers, Guardians, and Royals, the Mariners have the most hits, the most runs, and the best OPS. And out of the pitching, the Rangers by far have the best pitching. Although the Royals are just behind them, to be fair. So don't want to count them out. But the Rangers, they don't have just the best pitching in the AL. They have the best pitching in all of Major League Baseball. They have the best ERA, the best WHIP, and the least amount of runs given up as a team.
Wow. Yeah, man. I mean, there have been several guys for the Rangers who have been incredible this year. And I know some of them have gotten hurt. You know, Nathan Eovaldi was having an incredible year. He had like a 1.73 ERA over 22 games, but then he got hurt and he's likely going to be out for the rest of the season. Same with Tyler Mahle. He was playing great for them. He had
Is that including playoffs?
Yeah. Including, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think it's like he's probably out. I think he's like out for the rest of the season.
Tyler Mahle, such a good year too.
He was doing incredible, man. He was, I mean, if he kept up that pace, he was like gonna give Tarek Skubal a run for his money for the Cy Young.
Yeah, but, dude, his ERA was so low this year. It was incredible to watch.
Yeah. It was like every game. It was like, okay, well, he's got to have a bad game at some point, right? Eventually the ERA is gonna
when is he gonna give up 4 or 5 runs in a start? When's it gonna happen?
Yeah.
And it never.
You got to regress to the mean at some point, but it never happened. So that was a big loss for them. Tyler Mahle has been playing great for them too, or was playing great before he got hurt. He had a 2.34 ERA this season, but he is going to be coming back very soon. I believe September 20th was the day he's expected to come back. So
yeah,
we'll probably be able to get 1 or 2 starts before the playoffs start. And if the Rangers end up making the playoffs, I see him as probably being one of their guys that is going to be a starter for them in those games. You know. Mm-hmm. I mean, aside from like Jacob deGrom being Jacob deGrom again, he's been great since he came to the Rangers. So glad to see him doing well. He's been their ace like all year long.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have, if they make the playoffs, he's gonna have a really good run for them, I imagine. Mm-hmm. And another guy who could potentially start some playoff games for them is Merrill Kelly, because they traded for him at the deadline. From the Diamondbacks because they sold a lot. And he's been playing great for them too. In 8 games, he's got a 3.19 ERA. So just all around, it's a really great pitching staff for the Rangers, which is good because looking at their offense, it's kind of surprising to see where they're at, because the lineup is not exactly where you would expect it to be.
Nope. And in terms of the American League, I'm actually happy you mentioned the Rangers and their offense, because they rank 12th in the American League in hits and 8th in runs and 13th in team OPS. So overall, not a lot going on with the bats as a team.
Yeah. I mean, there's just been like a couple underwhelming guys for them. Some guys that they expected to do really well and like carry the team. And they haven't been performing. You know, Adolis Garcia has been pretty underwhelming. He's kind of struggled to, I mean, he does have a lot of doubles. He's got 28 doubles this year, but he's struggling to like keep the home runs and the slugging and the on-base percentage to where he was a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Jock Peterson is not doing good for them. I don't know why they keep throwing him out there. I don't know why he's still getting at-bats. He's hitting 175 right now, way below the Mendoza line. He's got a OPS barely over 600, you know, like... There's more guys. You know, Jonah Heim was supposed to be one of the best catchers in baseball, and he's struggled to like develop into that guy. And Marcus Semien is a completely different player, seemingly offensively, from where he was a couple years ago. I mean, he went from playing 162 games every year to putting up 7 and 8 WAR seasons to breaking the single season second base home run record in Toronto with 45 home runs only a couple years ago. And it seems like maybe his body is catching up to him with how much he's been, like how often he's been playing. I mean, when you play almost 500 baseball games in 3 years, you can only do that for so long, you know?
Yeah.
And he's dealing with two leg injuries right now on his foot. He's got a sprained foot and one of his toes is fractured. So hopefully that's not something that lingers for his career. Hopefully he can recover in the offseason and get back to where he was at one point, because I want Marcus Semien to do well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not everyone's Cal Ripken.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah. And one team that I do want to bring up too is the Guardians. You know, somehow they're still kicking it in the AL Central, still being
yeah,
a decent team. And it's really interesting that they still find themselves this close to playoff contention. I mean, they're only 3.5 back out of the wild card. So, like, it's really just one series difference. But in terms of how they compare in the specific stats that I brought up earlier, they're last in hits, they're second to last in runs, and they're last in team OPS. And
wow,
in terms of pitching, they're seventh in team ERA, they're 10th in whip, and fifth in runs given up. So not terrible, but you know, it's really interesting that they still find themselves this close to playoff contention with like that little going on, at least when you look at it through that lens.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. They've definitely not. The offense isn't really producing at the same level that some of these other teams are. You know, they don't have like the Mariners lineup, they don't have the Blue Jays roster, and like only two guys in their franchise right now is above league average offensively, and that's Kyle Manzardo, who's been good for them as a DH, and Jose Ramirez, who is one of the best third basemen in baseball. But it like besides them, they haven't really been getting much support from really anybody on the offensive side. So when you're competing for a playoff race this far into the season, and when you're as many games back as the Guardians are, you got to figure something out quick.
Yeah, honestly, if they don't make the playoffs or if they do very little in the playoffs, I think they got to trade Jose Ramirez and just do a full rebuild at this point.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think that they really do have to make some changes and get some new guys in that lineup, and they can get a lot of value out of Jose Ramirez, especially right now.
He's a consistent 30-30 guy.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
on.
absolutely. I mean, he's got 28 homers right now and 37 doubles. So, like last year, he almost went 40-40. I mean, if he's like a perennial like top 5, top 10 MVP finalist, he's got speed, he's got power, he's hits for contact. He really does everything you want from a hitter. So, this is kind of the best time for them to make a move like that if they're going to, you know.
Yeah. And the other team that's also contending, the Royals, their offense is also around the same level as Cleveland's. They're ninth in the AL in hits, dead last in runs, and 12th in team OPS. But they have some of the best pitching in the American League. They're second best in team ERA. They're tied for fifth best in whip with the Mariners, and they've given up the second least amount of runs in the American League. So their pitching is really holding them down, but you're gonna need the bats. You need the bats need to wake up if they really want to compete.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The Royals pitching has been good, and that's despite them suffering 2 injuries from some of their like best starting pitchers. Cole Reagans got hurt early in the year, and Chris Bubich got hurt as well. And those were going to be like the 2 guys that carried them to like the wild card or the division, you know. And I mean, the fact that they're still performing as well as they are on the pitching side without those guys is promising. You know, it says a lot. Michael Wacha is still hanging in there. He's still doing really well. You know, he's got a 118 ERA plus. So, like the pitching is definitely, and like when you include the bullpen in that too, Carlos Estevez has been one of the best closers in baseball. He's got the most saves in the entire MLB. So
Yeah.
I mean, the pitching side is a massive part of why they are in the position that they are and why they're still competing for a playoff run this late into the season. But they do have a pretty weak lineup overall, but the guys who are performing for them are performing really well. You know, Michael Wacha, Michael Garcia has had a breakout season, you know?
Yeah. Came out of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was hitting over 300 for like a lot of the season. He's hitting 292 still. He's put up 5.1 wins above replacement. So, like, he's been doing great. Vinny Pasquantino has his first 100 RBI season. So he's been that great, like, middle of the lineup guy to drive in the runs that get on base.
Yeah.
And speaking of getting on base, Bobby Witt Jr. has still been one of the best shortstops in all of baseball. Like, he's been doing great for them. He's got 35 steals, 21 homers this year. So they, despite having not a great lineup overall, there are definitely some bright spots.
Yeah, and those bright spots have very sore shoulders
Yes,
from
yeah,
carrying.
absolutely, yeah. But I mean, all three of those guys, I imagine that the Royals are going to want to keep around for a while. They're all
Oh
still very
yeah,
young.
yeah.
Vinny's 27, and Michael and Bobby are both 25. I'm on a
Mhm.
first name basis with them, so I can call them that. But yeah, I mean, these guys, I expect to be around for a while.
Yeah, and that is one thing I do kind of respect about the Royals franchise is they really do try to like build and grow a whole like dynamic roster. They give their teams like a long time to develop and give a chance. Like they don't just give up on guys and ship them off. Cough cough, the Pirates. Literally
Yeah,
anytime a player and you guys can look this up, anytime a player is like very close to a bonus or something like that for like achieving like a season stat, they'll just ship him off on waivers right before he's able to.
yeah, yeah. So just really dumb. Uh, there are a lot of questions about the Pirates management and how they run that franchise, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the like you said, the Royals do try to like build a core and let their guys develop. I mean, you think of like the run they had in like the mid 2010s where they had like Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo Cain, Alex Gordon, Mike Moustakas, Salvador Perez. Like you could basically name off the whole lineup because
Yeah,
it was the
Gerard
same guys
Dyson.
every year. Yeah, Eric Hosmer. Yeah,
Yeah.
Terrence Gore came into pinch hit man or pinch run. Yeah, like I feel like that's something that they want to do in the future as well. I think they're going to try to build around these three guys and really make a run.
Yeah. Another thing that I want to bring up with the Royals, how they've matched up against the rest of the contending teams competing for the final spot in the wild card, including the Guardians, the Rangers, and the Mariners, because I feel like it's important to not just look at, purely numbers, like team stats. It's also important to see how they actually play against each other to kind of predict if that behavior is going to continue into the end of the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So the Royals against the Mariners, they're 2-2, so they've tied. They've won 2 games against them, lost 2 games against them. And then the Royals against the Rangers this year, 6-1.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's kind of surprising because we talked about how good the Rangers pitching is and
Mm-hmm.
how lackluster the Royals offense is. So those two going up against each other, you'd think it'd be the other way around.
Exactly. No, 100%. And then the Royals against the Guardians are 5-7, so about neck and neck, basically.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, division rivalry. Yeah,
And then moving on to the Guardians against the Mariners, they're 2-4, so not great, but again about neck and neck. Against the Rangers, the Guardians are 0-3, so
ooh,
not good. The Rangers, when they play against the Mariners, they're 3-10.
wow,
Yeah.
wow. And they're still that close to each other, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's man. If the Rangers had won 2 more games, then they'd be ahead of the Mariners right now. Like, yeah, the Rangers pitching is great, but when you're going up against the Mariners offense and how good they've been, especially in the second half, like
Mm-hmm.
some of the guys picking up, like doing a lot better than they were in the first half. Julio Rodriguez in particular, like, I mean, yeah, the offense clashing against a great pitching is, I mean, that's a fun series, man. I want both teams to make the playoffs and face off in the wild card.
Yeah, dude, that would be super awesome. Like just a classic Western showdown.
Yeah, man. And imagine 3 teams in the AL West in the playoffs. That'd be weird. Probably one of the weakest divisions, but I mean, maybe not.
Yeah, if the Astros, who are in first place right now, if they were in the AL East, they'd be in fourth place.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what does that say about the Angels? You know, not a good look for us. But yeah, dude. I mean, some of the divisions out there are extremely competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. I mean, since we're talking about the AL East, I mean, they have 3 teams contending
Yeah,
in the playoffs right now.
yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, I feel like all 3 of these teams, like the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox, all could be like favorites to make a far push into the playoffs this year. I think
Mm-hmm.
all of them are like really have a good chance.
Yeah, man. And since we're talking about them, I feel like it would be kind of smart to see, since the Mariners are currently that final wild card team, let's see how they compare to the rest of the American League playoff teams.
Sure, let's do it.
So the Mariners, when compared to the rest of these teams, in terms of hits, last.
Wow. Yeah.
like out of the 6 teams, they are the 6th team.
Jeez.
And then in runs, they are 5th out of the 6 teams, and that's the same thing with OPS, also the same thing with ERA, and also the same thing with earned runs. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense as to why they are the 6th place team.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah. When you put it that way.
Yeah, but some interesting numbers here to just throw around. The Blue Jays have the most hits in baseball, but the Yankees have the most runs and the best OPS.
Wow, interesting. I think it kind of makes sense that the Blue Jays have the most hits. I mean, Bo Bichette has been incredible. He's one of the best offensive shortstops in baseball. He has the most hits in baseball, and he has the most doubles in baseball. Mm-hmm. So he's been great for them. Ever since he cut his hair, he's been doing really well. And speaking of guys who are doing well after cutting their hair, Vlad Jr. has picked up right where he left off last year. He had a great season last year, and he's having a great season this year. Mm-hmm. He's put up a 5 WAR season so far. One of the best first basemen in baseball, and he will be for a long time. He just got that big extension early in the year, and seems like it's paying off, at least for now. And George Springer is another guy who's been just having a great year. At age 35 season, he's got 28 homers for the most on the team, and he's a 935 OPS. So yeah, I'm not terribly surprised that the Blue Jays offense is doing as well as they are, and you could say the same thing for the Yankees.
Yeah, definitely. Although the Yankees are 7th in the American League in hits, but they are the first in runs. So they're still...
Yeah, the run production is just crazy on that team, and obviously a lot of it has to do with Aaron Judge putting up honestly stupid numbers this year. His OPS plus I think is at 201 right now, so he's about twice as good as the average major league hitter.
Wow.
So that's kind of unbelievable. He's slugging 656, and he's almost got an OPS of 1.1. Mm-hmm. So when you look at numbers like that, it could be kind of easy to go, oh, okay, that's why they're in the position they are. That's why they're in the wild card, because he's carrying them. But I mean, obviously he is a massive reason for why they are where they are right now, but he's not necessarily carrying them, because they have other guys on the team who are doing really well offensively.
Yeah.
Trent Grisham had his first 30 homer season this year. He's at 30 homers right now. His previous highest in one season was 17, so he's almost doubled his home run numbers.
Yeah.
Cody Bellinger is slugging over 500. He's got 28 homers himself, and Jazz Chisholm is basically at a 30-30 season. So at one point I was kind of under the assumption that Aaron Judge is just carrying the team, but it's not necessarily the case, because they have less holes in the lineup than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, if Aaron Judge was carrying the team, I feel like they would be at least 5th or 6th in runs. But yeah, I mean, they're 1st in the American League in runs. One guy cannot do that himself.
Yeah, and he was out for a couple weeks.
Yeah. Although, we're talking about how the Blue Jays have probably the best overall offense on this board, since they are 3rd in runs and 2nd in OPS in the American League. Their pitching does not translate whatsoever. They are 10th in ERA, tied for 7th in team whip, and 11th in most runs given up.
Wow. Yeah, the pitching hasn't really been up to par as where the offense has been. They don't really, I feel like the Blue Jays don't really have that ace guy right now. Kevin Gausman is their one pitcher in the rotation, but he hasn't necessarily been doing what he has done in the past. I feel like they don't really have a guy who's they don't really have a Garrett Crochet type where you can basically guarantee that he's going to go 6 or 7 innings a game, give up 2 or 3 runs at most. They don't really have that on their team. So for as well as the Blue Jays are doing offensively, and I know that they're still in first place in a really competitive division, they're not unbeatable. They definitely still have some weaknesses, and if you can find a way to keep the offense at bay, you can find a way to win a series against them.
Yeah, and One crazy thing too, when I was just kind of like digging through all the stats, I came to the conclusion that the Red Sox have the best overall team out of all of these 6 teams, like just overall.
Wow.
And the way I came to this conclusion was I did a little bit of math. So since the Red Sox have the third most hits in the American League and the second most runs and the fourth best OPS, I added up those numbers, divided by 3 to get an average number. And that number was 3. So then I did the same thing with their pitching. They have the third best AL ERA, the 9th best WHIP, and the third least amount of runs given up. So I added those 3 numbers up, 393, and then I divided by 3, which was 5. So then I put those numbers together and I got 8. So then when I did the same process with the rest of the teams, the Tigers got 10, the Yankees got 11, the Blue Jays got 11.3, the Astros got 12, and the Mariners got 14. And ideally, like 1 means you're the best. So the Red Sox at 8 means they have the best overall team based on those like 6 stats that I put together.
Wow.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they have been great in the second half, like all around as a team overall. Honestly, kind of since the Devers trade, they've only gotten better since then, you know. And I mean, Garrett Crochet has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. Like he's probably going to finish second or third in Cy Young, behind Tarek Skubal, maybe Hunter Brown. But yeah, I mean they've been a great team all around. Like the rotation and the bullpen is great. Aroldis Chapman is doing insane things right now.
Not reliever of the month.
Yeah, he's probably going to win reliever of the year. He
didn't give up a run last month.
Yeah, bro. His ERA was under 1 at one point. It started with a 0 point something. It was, I think 0.98 was the lowest I saw it. But he just had a 17-game streak without allowing a single hit. And before that, he had a 19-game streak without allowing a single run. So, like, he's really been the best reliever in baseball. I feel like he's gone on an incredible stretch. And with great run prevention on defensive side comes great run production on the offensive side, because they have a lot of guys who are honestly they've been surprising me with how well they've been doing. You know, Roman Anthony was one of the Red Sox top prospects. He got called up this year and he's been playing great. He's put up 3.1 WAR in 71 games. He's almost hitting 300. He's got a 137 OPS plus. Christian Campbell got a big extension early on in the season. I think they got him he got 8 years or something. Hasn't necessarily been working out super well yet. He's kind of struggling, but he still has time to develop. But I feel like they're probably going to try to do the same thing with Roman Anthony. I think they're going to want to lock him down for the distant future. And I wouldn't be super surprised if he gets an extension in the next year or two. And another guy who I've been very surprised about is Trevor Story. He's been doing great for the Red Sox. I thought that when he left Colorado, his career was kind of going down a pretty bad path. He was missing a lot of games. He was dealing with some nagging injuries. He only played 163 games in the first 3 seasons in Boston, but this year he's played 143 games in this season alone. So, like, he's been great, and he's been producing as well. He has 27 doubles, 24 homers. He's got 91 RBIs, and he's stolen 28 bases without getting caught once. The most stolen bases in a single season without getting thrown out was done in 2023 by Trey Turner with 30. So Trevor Story is 2 away from tying that record. So
that's pretty good.
Like, he's been a massive reason for why the offense has been so successful.
Yeah, love to hear that. You know, it's a great story overall.
Yeah, man. He was like one of the most exciting guys in Colorado as a shortstop. He was hitting 37 home runs as a shortstop. So, I'm glad to see that he's been playing well again.
You didn't catch my pun there, did you?
Did you say it was a good story?
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's good. But what's interesting, you know, kind of going back to the seasonal matchups to kind of see how they've played against each other throughout the season to kind of get a better idea how the playoff matchups could go. This year, the Red Sox are 8-2 against the Yankees.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's really interesting considering that they're currently sitting under them in the playoff bracket.
Yeah, that is very strange. Yeah, 8-2 is. I mean, you got to expect that if they find each other in the playoffs, then the Red Sox are probably going to have an advantage there. I mean, statistically, the odds of them winning is going to be pretty good, especially if they have all their guys healthy. Like they, yeah. I mean, you don't really hear Yankees fans talking about how they're playing against the Red Sox this year, and that's probably a big reason why, because they're
Yeah,
not playing well.
no. And I have a fun question for you here.
Okay,
So, you're the Blue Jays.
I am.
You have played against the Tigers, the Astros, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Mariners this season.
Yep.
What team out of those 5 teams is the one team that you have lost in your seasonal matchups against?
Yankees?
The Astros.
Really?
Yeah, the Blue Jays against the Tigers are 4-3. The Blue Jays against the Yankees are 8-5. The Blue Jays against the Red Sox are 7-3. The Blue Jays against the Mariners are 4-2. But the Blue Jays against the Astros are 1-4, despite them being the worst first place team in Major League Baseball.
Wow.
What's up with that?
That is pretty surprising to me, honestly. That's Baseball's weird, man. Baseball's a weird sport. And that's what I love about these, like by the time you get to the playoffs, it doesn't matter what your season record was anymore. It doesn't matter if you won 100 games in the season, because if you're going up against a team that you haven't won a series against in the regular season, you're at a big disadvantage.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And if the Mariners were to find themselves up against the Yankees, that would not be good. That would not be good. They are 1-5 against the Yankees on the year.
Wow. Yeah, that would not be good.
Yeah, but overall, out of the 6 playoff teams in the American League currently right now, the Blue Jays have the best overall chance of winning a series against them based on the seasonal matchups this year so far.
Wow. I mean, yeah, they've been having a great season. You know, it's hard to go against them, especially like some of those guys in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the pitching not really standing out.
Yeah, you know, their run differential is not great. You know, I made a point, I think it was either the last baseball episode or the one previous, that they had the exact same run differential as the Tampa Bay Rays, but the Rays were sitting in 4th place. So their offense is really carrying them. But they're just winning more games somehow. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's like we mentioned before, they don't really have a guy that's like standing out and like carrying the team as an ace. All the guys are kind of, and they're not necessarily like pitching bad, obviously. Like they're the first place team, so they're going to be pretty decent, but they don't really have, like, I feel like when you get to the playoffs, you kind of need like 1 or 2 starters that are going to like be really solid and give you a really good chance to win, because if you're in a 3-game series and you got 3 or 4 pitchers that you're not super confident in, and you don't really know who's gonna like do what, then it's you're gonna be on your toes the whole time.
Yeah, thin ice.
Yeah.
And the Tigers, you know, they're just like, where do they work into all this? Because they're doing good this year, and in terms of the American League, like they sit 5th in hits, 4th in runs, 5th in team OPS, they're 5th in team ERA, 4th in WHIP, 7th in least amount of runs given up. So, like, they're floating around there, you know, like they're not doing hot, they're not doing bad either. You know, it's really hard to know exactly what they're gonna be doing, because you know it's not like polarized at all.
Yeah, totally. I feel like a couple months ago, like earlier on in the season, the Tigers were like the best team in baseball, at least the best team in the American League. And it seems like they haven't really like kept that going for the whole season. I mean, they are still like 22 games above 500, I think, but that's because of how well they were doing like early on in the season. And there are still some guys who are like staying on track with what they've been doing. Like one of the reasons that their team ERA is as low as it is because Tarek Skubal is one of the best pitchers in baseball, and he still has a 2.1 ERA this year, you know? So like the Tigers, even though they haven't really been like drawing a lot of attention lately, I feel like I do think that they still have the potential to have a solid like playoff run, you know?
Yeah, and they have a very deep roster, so
Yeah,
it's not like I'm definitely not ruling them out. It's just it's really hard to know where they play into all of this, just because I feel like everyone else, like their story seems a bit more definitive to a degree.
yeah, true. And also, they're the only team in the American League who is the only team in their division in the playoffs right now, I believe, right? Because AL East has
Yeah,
three, and then the Mariners and the Astros are in. But the Tigers are the only team in their division who are like really in the position that they're in. And honestly, the other teams in the division aren't really close. Like, so they're definitely going to be, when they get to the playoffs, they're going to be facing some teams that they don't really face as often as some of the other teams that will be in the playoffs, you know?
yeah. Although it's not impossible for Cleveland or Kansas City to sneak in there, but
Yep.
it's definitely seeming more likely to be either Seattle or Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like looking at the lineups alone, like I know like baseball is weird, and when you have like team matchups like going against each other, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
But just looking at the lineups alone, like it feels like the Mariners and Rangers are like kind of in a different league.
Yeah, I mean, the Mariners are currently on a 5-game win streak, and the Rangers are on a 4-game win streak right now, so they're both hot.
Yeah, yeah. Are they playing each other at all the rest of the season, I wonder?
No, they're not, but both Seattle and Texas have games against Houston this month.
Ooh, wow. Those are going to be some really interesting series.
Yep.
Because if the Astros start to dwindle and have a couple bad series, they could go from first to third, honestly.
Also, yeah, and also the Mariners have their 3 best going in that series. They got Wu, Kirby, and Gilbert.
Wow. Man, yeah. I mean, it's looking pretty good for the Mariners, man.
Yeah, man. And also with the Rangers series, they have Jack Leader, right? Jack.
Mm-hmm. Jack
Lighter.
Leiter. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not
Stun
heavy.
about Leiter, I think.
Yeah, not heavier. And then Merrill Kelly and Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, those are 3 of their best pitchers too that are healthy right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Houston's gonna have to lock in real good for those series.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what makes it even more troublesome for them is they take place basically within the same week.
Oh, geez. Wow, they're gonna be running on fumes by the time they get to the playoffs, man.
Yeah.
They're gonna be worn out.
Yeah, the Seattle series is from Friday, September 19th to Sunday, September 21st, and the Rangers series is from Monday, September 15th to Wednesday, September 17th. So like literally a 1-day gap.
Wow. Yeah. So that'll be just before Tyler Mahle comes back. So I'm curious about what they're gonna do with him. You know, we'll see. I hope he picks up where he left off before he got hurt, you know. But I mean, yeah, both of these teams, the Mariners and the Rangers, have a lot going for them right now. It is still a very close race.
Yeah. After we cover the National League playoff race, we can cover the results of those games.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's what we're gonna do, and that's also how we're gonna wrap up today's episode of the Sci-Fly Zone. If you made it this far, we appreciate it. If you have any topics that you want us to discuss, leave them down in the comments. We'll be happy to talk about anything and everything, baseball related, sci-fi related, whatever you want. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.